Welcome back to BYoungMinistry.com, to another blog and to another podcast. Today we're in the book of the Revelation. We're in chapter 6, verses 3 and 4, which reads, "When the Lamb opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature saying, 'Come.' Then another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make people kill each other. To him was given a large sword." That's Revelation chapter 6, verses 3 and 4. Today we take another trip into the future as we study the book of the Revelation. The focus of today's study is the opening of the second seal, whereas the theme of Revelation chapters 4 and 5 was the worship of God and of the Lamb. Revelation 6 begins the display of the wrath of God upon the rebellious world that has rejected his free gift of salvation. Each seal will increase in intensity as we study them. According to Revelation chapter 4 and verse 1, the church has been raptured or taken up into heaven to be with the Lord Jesus until the tribulation is over. On earth, unsaved man will be the recipients of the wrath of God to its fullest. For the Jews, it will be the time of Jacob's trouble, and for the Gentiles, it will be the slaughter of the world. In Revelation chapter 5, we were introduced to a scroll in God's hand, which was taken out of his hand by the Lord Jesus himself. According to Revelation chapter 6 and verse 1, he begins to break the seals. As the first seal was broken, the events of God's wrath began to unfold. Now, there are 7 seals on this scroll, and today we have come to the second of the 7 seals. The first 4 seals out of the 7 take up the first 3.5 years of the period known as the 70th 7 of Daniel 9, or as some call it, the tribulation. We know it will be a 7-year period of time because it is identified as such in Daniel chapter 9. The first half of this 7-year period of time is also identified in Revelation as a 42-month period of time, or a 3.5-year period of time, or a 1,260-day period of time. Now, the first 4 seals depict horsemen. That's where we get the term the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. The imagery is shocking and frightening, but the first of these horsemen brings a time period of peace and prosperity, as we saw in our last blog. But the following 3 bring deadly results. In verses 3 and 4, we read, "When the Lamb opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature say, 'Come.' Then another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make people kill each other. To him was given a large sword." Following the peace from the opening of the first seal, the second seal is opened and a fiery red horse came forth. A careful study of the Old Testament shows us that horses are associated with triumph, power, and might. But this fiery red horse speaks of war that is most frightening and devastating. We know it's war because it says he takes peace from the earth and makes people kill each other. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 3, we read, "For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them, as labor pains upon a pregnant woman, and they shall not escape." This second rider represents war, but not war between great armies. The word for kill is really the word for slaughter. This is a reference to civil war or civil anarchy, where mobs of people group together to attack and destroy other peoples whom they do not like. We are seeing many demonstrations of this today in our own country. The final words of verse 4 read, "To him was given a large sword." The bow of the first horse will be replaced with the sword of the second. This will happen at the time of God's command. Some say this is not the wrath of God, but it comes out of the throne in the scroll in the hand of God. This is God's unfolding wrath. It is God who has granted this red horse the authority and the power to move and bring war. It was God who allowed the false peace, and it is God who starts the wars. The whole earth will lose its peace, and violence will break out all over the world and seem to throughout the remainder of the tribulation. We are told that since 3600 BC, there have been 14,531 wars and only 292 years of what would be considered peace. This is approximately 2.6 wars per year and 1 year of peace out of every 2 decades, or 36 hours of peace per month, or 1 minute of peace every 4 hours. That's as good as it has ever gotten. 1 minute of peace every 4 hours. Well, during the tribulation period, things will change, and it will accumulate in what we could call the mother of all battles, the Battle of Armageddon. This is why this is so relevant today, much more so than it was when the Apostle John wrote this book. The reason is, today we now have the capabilities to destroy the entire planet in 1 hour. According to the Center for Defense Information, the United States alone has an arsenal of some 35,000 nuclear warheads. Each warhead is equivalent to the capacity, which is 35,000 times greater than the bomb that went off at Hiroshima. And that's just the United States. There are now 9 nations on Earth with nuclear capabilities, and these weapons will factor in to the outcomes that are described in the book of the Revelation. My friends, I trust this blog and this podcast are helping you in your walk with the Lord. If I can be of further assistance to you, don't hesitate to shoot me an email at BYoungMinistry@gmail.com. Hey, have a great day.